I call the meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone to the regularly scheduled Port Clinton City Council meeting of November 14, 2023, in the Linda Hartlab Chambers at Port Clinton City Hall. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, Lord's Prayer, and moment of silence for those serving and protecting us. I'd be nervous when you stood up so soon.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and glory, forever. Amen.
Thank you. You may be seated. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Beth Gilman.
Present.
Margaret Phillips.
Present.
Richard Morgan.
I'm here.
Kelly Gangle.
Excused.
Pat Hovis.
Here.
Jerry Trolley.
Present.
Kathy King.
Here.
Thank you. Chair notes the certifications have been made regarding compliance with the rules and notifications of this meeting. We have no guest presentation, and we have no public comment. We'll move on to executive officers' reports. Council, this evening, we have several new ordinances and a resolution. Ordinance 24-23 can go to full 3 reads, and the Safety Services Committee has already met about that. Ordinance 25-23, the administration has asked that it be passed after its second reading if council so chooses, will not be assigned to a committee. Ordinance 26-23, no committee, it will go to 3 reads. It's the usual Harbor Patrol approval that we've done in the past. Ordinance 27-23, no committee, but administration has asked that it be passed on its first reading. And I will read, Mr. Belo could not be with us, and he has emailed me something. I'll read his statement on that. And we have resolution 23-13. It can go to 3 reads. It's been assigned to Mr. Trolley's Committee, Environment and Public Works. Also, we will move December 26th council meeting to December 19th at 6 p.m. That will also be the swearing in for the newly elected officials. We'll do it prior to. We'll discuss that further. If everyone wants to do it, I mean, we could do it separately if you like, but we usually do it right before then. I don't know, Mayor, what you plan on doing, so.
That works.
Okay.
Pat Hovis.
Pardon?
We don't want to approve minutes.
Oh, I jumped right past that, didn't I? Thank you. I'm so excited. I was trying to get to my list. Okay, well, we will back up. Council has received the October 24th, 2023 regular meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Madam President, I move to accept October 24th's regular meeting minutes.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? A motion by Ms. Phillips, seconded by Mr. Trolley to approve the October 24, 2023 regular meeting minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. The minutes are approved. I didn't even cross it off.
It got past all of us, so I don't know.
Thank you.
It's a time change.
Thank you, yeah.
You sprung ahead instead of falling
I
back.
did. I jumped up. Yeah. So, again, we'll move the December 26th meeting to December 19th at 6 p.m. Have the swearing in prior to that. If the clerk could please post the appropriate paperwork notices, I would appreciate that. And we'll move on to the mayor's report.
Thank you, Madam President, members of council, good evening. A little less than 2 weeks ago, Mr. Colson and I traveled to the west end of the county to meet with 4 engineers and whatnot from Pogemeyer Design Group, Kleinfelder, to do some final stuff, for lack of a better term, in relationship to the forward-looking infrastructure project. And Mr. Colson and I were talking before this meeting, and if this marathon that has been the 5-year thing was a horse race, the announcer would be screaming over the PA, and down the stretch they come. Because where it stands right now, as you may recall, the city needs to find temporary loans to get us from the point of construction until the end of construction. And then at that point, the U.S. Department of Agriculture will take over with their $10 million grant and $9 million loan to get us for the next several years while we pay this off. Bond counsel for the city of Port Clinton has certified that we have the funds. They've filled out all the necessary paperwork, and they have turned that paperwork over to the U.S. Department of Agriculture for their final approval. USDA has told us it'll take 30 to 45 days to complete that work, and at that point they will give us the thumbs up to go out for bid. So the clock is ticking, the horses are coming down the stretch. It's happening. It is happening. With that, and it'll be part of what Mr. Belo has presented as part of his discussion. You all know that Eric Peterson left the city. He was our special projects coordinator, but we were very, very fortunate enough to identify a gentleman by the name of Doug Nusser. Doug, probably you've seen him, but you didn't realize the role he played. He was with Kleinfelder Pogemeyer. He was going to retire at the end of the year. He decided to retire a few months earlier. He is the special projects coordinator for the city of Port Clinton. He's been instrumental since day one. He is one of 5 people that sat in the room right behind us as they pitched this idea to Olin Martin and I about the comprehensive infrastructure project. He started on Monday. He's gangbusters. We had lunch with him yesterday. Mr. Colson has told me he is asking a million questions and moving right along. It's a tremendous, tremendous asset to the city of Port Clinton to have Mr. Nusser with us. And if you get the opportunity to meet him, we'll make that happen. On another topic, the Christmas tree is all set for downtown Port Clinton and Sip and Shop as part of the Main Street Chamber of Commerce festivities on this Saturday at 6 p.m. We'll have a very brief tree lighting ceremony, as it'll be in the midst of an Ohio State football game. Would like to thank Derek Indiana. I think I'm kidding. Derek Indiana Holman from Catawba for donating the tree. I reached out to them to have them come and actually physically flip the switch. They're actually in Florida for the winter, but their children and grandchildren will be in town, and they'll come down to help us flip that switch. Special kudos to Ken Gill Construction and a couple members of our service department for cutting down the tree, transporting it into town, and of course that was along with a police escort from Catawba into Madison Street. It was a neat thing. I'd never seen the tree be taken down and secured on the flatbed and brought into town. Since we're in the holiday spirit, the second tree lighting for the city, the tree lighting on Adams Street, will take place on December 2nd. There'll be a parade from the old Great Scott parking lot down 2nd Street to Adams Street. Santa and Mrs. Claus will be there, the tree lighting. And then Santa will be in town for several visits on Sundays after the 2nd. On Sundays from noon to 1, and on Wednesdays from 5 to 6 p.m. Santa will be in the house up to and not including the 24th. So whatever that Wednesday is before the 24th would be the last visit. That would be the 20th. I have it in my notes. So from the 3rd to the 20th on Wednesdays and Saturdays, Santa will be at the house. Mr. Belo, in his presentation, will touch on this, but I want to thank the following individuals and companies for the park survey that is out there, was released today. OHM, they're the consulting group that the city selected to help us through this process. Of course, Mr. Belo, Mr. Colston, Ms. Trish McCartney, and the Ottawa County Parks Board, who lent tremendous financial assistance to make this happen. If you haven't taken a survey yet, please do so. Share it, email it to friends, family, whether they live in town or out of town. If you've taken it, you see that one of the questions is, do you live in town? It's all valuable information to get us to where we want to be for the first of 2 public gatherings on the 30th of November at the Art Garage. Journey's End, this is something new to the community the past 3 or 4 years, coordinated by Trinity United Methodist Church and other churches throughout the community. This year's Journey's End event will be on Friday, December 22nd at 6 p.m. starting at Trinity United Methodist, work their way over to St. John, St. Thomas, RJ's, Our Guest Inn, the gazebo, and back to Trinity. Again, that'll be on the 22nd at 6 p.m. Congratulations to the Port Clinton Firefighters Association and another successful feather party that was held this past weekend. A few people in this room won some things, isn't that right, Ms. Hilvis? Yes? Yeah. It was a good time, good crowd. Great fundraiser. Again, all the funds that are raised through that event and the other events that the Firefighters Association do go right back into the fire department to help equip and serve everybody in the community. Just a reminder that there are crews, city crews out and about collecting leaves and crack sealing, so as you're driving up and down the streets, just be mindful of those crews that are out there. And then finally tonight, Madam President, if you get an opportunity to check out the mural at Friendship Park right at Jefferson and Perry, the new one is up. It looks really, really cool, and I guess the best way to describe it is a beachy scene. So take a look at that. Rick Ziak was the artist for that. So it's great to see all the color and light and activity. I've always said, you've heard me say this a million times, art brings light, light brings activity. Activity brings people bring ideas, and ideas lead to commerce. So it's a great addition. So with that, Madam President, that concludes my report. Unless there's any questions, Mr. Trolley.
Anyone have any questions?
I had some, but no, I'm good. Thank you.
Very good.
Okay, thank you. Like I said, Mr. Belo could not be here this evening, but he has sent me something to read to council. And I was going to put it in Mayor read, but it won't be that one. So it says, members of council, it pains me that I cannot be with you this evening. I wish to provide 4 updates. First, for the next meeting, council will receive a year-end appropriation ordinance as well as an ordinance providing the temporary budget for 2024 to cover the first few months of the year. Action would not be needed until December. Mr. Colston and I have recently met with the department heads to discuss budget needs for 2024, and the results were promising. I plan to discuss with Finance Committee next month. 2, there may also be legislation necessary to adjust the city's current fund structure to meet the requirements of the city's new finance software provided by the Auditor of State, called the Uniform Accounting Network, or UAN. We hope to launch this new system in January. It will bring the city auditor's office accounting, payroll, and budget software into the 21st century and provide significant cost savings each year, approximately $35,000 annually when compared to the cost of the current system. Operating costs will be approximately $5,000 per year, down from $40,000 per year. This is a great opportunity, especially compared to the alternative solution offered by the private sector with the startup cost of over $100,000 alone. There is zero startup cost with UAN. I have asked Mrs. Hobus and Mrs. Gilman to offer tonight a motion from the floor pertaining to the new system. I ask that council approve the motion. 3, on the agenda this evening is ordinance 2027, which authorizes salaries for 2 employee positions, Special Projects Coordinator and Economic Development Coordinator. The first addresses a position previously held by Mr. Peterson and Mr. Winkle before that. The position will manage the infrastructure project, among other things. The second position would promote and manage economic development incentives and related efforts, including new programs, including available to the city, like Portland. It would also manage grant pursuits and administration supporting all of the city programs so that more state, federal, and foundation dollars offset foreign costs to the city of Fort Clinton taxpayers. The job description was previously provided to City Council. Mayor Snyder, Mr. Colster, and I all support this effort, and I have no doubt this position will more than pay for itself in the first year. I ask that City Council pass ordinance 27 this evening. 4, and last but not least, Council received this morning the announcement of the open house for the recreational amenities survey and plan, scheduled for November 30th at 7 p.m. to be held at the Art Garage. An online survey went live late yesterday. I encourage everyone to participate. I wish to thank Ms. Osheimer for circulating the announcement to the media and on Facebook, and the Park District of Ottawa County, which is sponsoring the project, and the Arts Council for allowing the use of the space. And thank you, Council, for passing legislation approving this project, and everyone had this on their anticipated, so. And that is all from Mr. Pelo, and I cannot answer any questions, so, besides what was said there. Treasurer's report, Ms. Osterheimer.
The figures I'll be providing you are as of October 31st, 2023. Bed tax at that time was $294,695.74. Dock tax was $25,653.07.
Thank you. And the law director is not with us this evening. Mr. Colston, supervisor report.
Yeah, nothing really tonight. If you have any questions, I can probably answer some of those on those positions. If there is some questions now, I'll take them, or we can wait till later, however you'd like to do it.
I have one question.
Sure.
You were talking to someone who was hired to replace Eric Peterson.
Correct.
What position was that?
Special Projects Coordinator.
But I'm confused because it looks like we're about to approve this position. How can we have filled it when we haven't approved it yet? What do I have wrong here?
What you have, the only thing you have wrong is it was a hourly position that's changing into a salary position. You've already passed it as a position. It's in our ordinance, but we want to go to salary and not have it be hourly. There'll be no overtime or anything else.
Okay, so at this point, he's working hourly, but if we approve this, it will go to
It'll
salary.
just be salary.
About how many hours a week does this person?
35.
Okay, all right.
The
That-
salary will based off the 35 hours. The other one is a new position, which she explained when she said that to you.
Okay.
That is a new position, and I have been ultimately involved with that, so.
Yeah, I should have asked that during yours, but it just hit me once you start reading it that it was the same thing. Okay.
No, I just wanted, let's just clarify, it's basically to clean it up so it's salary instead of that. So the position's there, you guys have already voted on it, so that's not a problem. But
Okay,
it
makes
needs
sense.
to be salary.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else have any questions?
Thank you, that's all I have. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Move on to committee reports. Finance, Ms. Sobis.
Nothing tonight, Madam President.
Thank you. Mr. Trolley, Environment and Public Works.
Yeah, we'll be discussing this, Dean Park District plans before the next council meeting.
Okay,
I think 5 o'clock on
Okay.
Tuesday.
5 o'clock? Is that usually tree commission?
No, this is only the first.
Okay,
thank you. November 28th, at
Yes,
5 o'clock.
yes.
gotcha.
I couldn't think of the date, I
Ms.
didn't want to embarrass myself.
Mrs. Ostheimer could post that also. I appreciate that. Thank you. Safety Services, Ms. Phillips.
Thank you, Madam President. We don't have anything for this evening. We have our last meeting notes under correspondence.
Okay, thank you. Economic and Community Development, Mrs. Gilman.
Nothing of interest to council, but a little bit. The mayor had given us a list of items to consider to identify the city, and the schools were kind enough to circulate those through several classes and get a spreadsheet to me, and I've been going through trying to compile that. Some very interesting answers. The kids are creative and have some great input, so we'll discuss it at our next committee meeting, which is after the next council meeting directly following, but some good answers from the high schoolers. So I wasn't getting much from the community, but the high schoolers pitched in. So that's our future, our youth.
Okay, so your committee
Nothing
meeting
else.
is before the next one, and yours is after.
Yes.
And I'm on both.
You're
so-
you're here all night.
That's fine.
After lunch, buddy, after lunch.
Bring drinks, bring snacks.
I'll bring margaritas.
I'm going to your meetings.
Okay,
Nothing else.
thank you. We'll move on to correspondence. Under correspondence, we have the Safety and Services Committee minutes from October 24, 2023, and Ohio Division of Liquor Control Fraternal Order of Eagles, Lodge 2295-219 Madison Street, Portland, Ohio. And my understanding is this is a D5
Correct.
license to we already voted like we did for, like council did for the Grist Mill and the Bait House. This will just be a replacement.
Correct, you've already seen the original paperwork saying they were in the works for it and had received a permit that they purchased. And this one is solidifying that the state is agreeing to that purchase and that they're asking for us to see if we adhere or not.
Yes, and then the police chief has no objections
No.
to this also. Does council wish to take any action as to correspondence?
Madam
Ma'am.
President, I move the correspondence.
Madam President, I move we waive our right to a hearing for the Ohio Division of Liquor Control Fraternal Order of Eagles.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second, Jeff.
Thank you. Any discussion, further discussion? We have a motion by Mrs. Gilman, seconded by Mr. Troy, to waive the required hearing as to the liquor permit for the Eagles. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Pat Hovis?
Yes.
Richard Morgan?
Yes.
Margaret Phillips?
Yes.
Beth Gilman?
Yes.
Jerry Trolley?
Yes.
Kathy King?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries by a vote of 6-0. The clerk will prepare the paperwork and send it out. I appreciate that. Thank you. Does council wish to take any further action as to the correspondence?
Madam President, I move we accept the correspondence.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? I have a motion by Mrs. Gilman, seconded by Mr. Troy to approve the correspondence as stated. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. We'll move on to readings of ordinances and resolutions. Do no third or second readings. We'll move on to first readings of ordinances and resolutions. Will the clerk please read by title and summary only, ordinance 24-23.
Ordinance number 24-23, an ordinance modifying Part 7 of the Port Clinton Codified Ordinances by ordaining Chapter 735, short-term rentals, and in order to establish a registration program and guidelines for the operation of short-term rentals and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Does council wish to take any action as to ordinance 24-23? Seeing none, ordinance 24-23 will be moved to its second reading at the next regular scheduled council meeting on November 28th, 2023. Will the clerk please read by title and summary only, ordinance 25-23.
Ordinance number 25-23, an ordinance authorizing the chief of police to enter into an agreement with the State of Ohio Department of Natural Resources, ODNR, to obtain new buoys through the ODNR Navigational Aids Grant.
Does council wish to take any action as to ordinance 25-23? Seeing none, ordinance 25-23 will be done to a second reading at the next regular scheduled council meeting on November 28th, 2023. Will the clerk please read by title and summary only, ordinance number 26-23.
Ordinance number 26-23, an ordinance authorizing the chief of police to enter into an agreement with the State of Ohio Department of Natural Resources for financial assistance for the operation of the Port Clinton Harbor Patrol and appropriating funds.
Does council wish to take any action as to ordinance 26-23? Seeing none, ordinance 26-23 will be moved to its second reading at the next regular scheduled council meeting on November 28th, 2023. Will the clerk please read by title and summary only, ordinance 27-23.
Ordinance number 27-23, an ordinance establishing the salaries of certain supervisory positions classified as exempt employees of the city of Port Clinton, Ohio, and replacing the previous ordinance referencing salaries for certain exempt employees and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Does council wish to take any action as to ordinance 27-23?
Madam President,
Yes, Mr. Troy.
I would like to make a motion to waive the 3 required readings of ordinance 27-23.
I second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay. Motion by Mr. Troy, seconded by Troy Blake.
Ms. Phillips?
Ms. Phillips.
We're having quite a night.
Yes, we are. Seconded by Ms. Phillips. My mind is going. Seconded by Ms. Phillips to waive the 3 required readings as to ordinance 27-23. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Richard Morgan?
Yes.
Beth Gilman?
Yes.
Margaret Phillips?
Yes.
Kathy King?
Yes.
Pat Hovis?
Yes.
Jerry Trolley?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries by a vote of 6-0. The 3 required readings are hereby waived. Does council wish to take any further action?
Madam President, I move to retain the emergency clause.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
There is no emergency clause.
Yes, sir.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, there is.
That says there is.
It says ordinance, it does. Next one.
Hereby declared an emergency, section 5.
My apologies.
It's okay.
It's already correct.
It is
It's the holidays.
Okay, thank you. I
Until they
have a
call.
motion by Ms. Phillips, seconded by Mrs. King, to retain the emergency clause as to ordinance 27-23. Any discussion?
Better not.
Would the clerk please call the roll?
Kathy King?
Yes.
Pat Hovis?
Oh, yes.
Beth Gilman?
Yes.
Margaret Phillips?
Yes.
Richard Morgan?
Sure. That's a yes.
Jerry Trolley?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion carries by a vote of 6-0. The emergency clauses are retained. Does council wish to take any further action as
Madam President, we move to adopt ordinance 2723 this evening.
thank you, Ms. Phillips.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mrs. King. Any discussion? Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Phillips, seconded by Mrs. King to adopt ordinance 27-23. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Beth Gilman,
Yes.
Pat Hovis,
Yes.
Mark Phillips,
Yes.
Kathy King.
Yes.
Jerry Trolley.
Yes.
Richard Morgan.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion carries by a vote of 6-0. Ordinance 27-23 is hereby adopted. Will the clerk please read by title and summary only? Resolution 23-13.
Resolution 23-13, a resolution of support for the Portage River Arts Recreation Corridor and the inclusion of certain projects in the state capital budget.
Does council wish to take any action as to resolution 23-13? Seeing none, resolution 23-13 will be moved on to a second reading at the next regularly scheduled council meeting on November 28, 2023. We'll move on to business from the floor. Mr. Morgan.
Not tonight.
Thank you. Ms. Phillips.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to cancel the next meeting for SNS. That would be the one on the, you folks are going to be using at 5 o'clock onwards, so we have the time for you. Okay.
I can use this one. If you want to keep your meeting, we can use this room.
No, we don't have, we're caught up.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Drolley.
No, right now I've got questions, but it's, I'm gonna wait on the questions. But I would like to thank Mr. Beal and Mr. Colston and Mayor Snyder for the work on ordinance 27-23. That just is going to be tremendous for the city. We've needed someone like that for quite a while. And again, just thank you from the citizens and the council. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Mrs. King.
I echo the thanks there, and I also want to point out that the feather party was amazing. It was the first time I'd ever been to one, and it was a lot of fun. Aside from that, like while looking into like short-term rentals, like I called Rita to find out if they collected other types of taxes besides income tax. And they informed me they did not, which, okay. But I had them send me an email about their information, and they said that they could review and provide feedback on our current tax ordinance for free with the most recent changes to Ohio law. And also they could give us a cost estimate on what it would be like to use their services. So I want to make a motion that we submit the cost estimate worksheet to Rita and have them perform those services.
Okay. Do I have a second? I'll second. Mrs. Willis. And any discussion, questions from anyone else? Do you want to read it as?
Oh yeah, it's the regional income tax agency.
I'm afraid to ask
No,
questions.
you're.
Oh, no, that's questions.
Man, that's how you're gonna learn.
Yeah.
You
So
gotta
it's
ask.
the regional income tax agency. They collect taxes for a lot of cities, and they keep it's really like in the previous cities I've lived in, I've had read it, and it's really easy to file and all that stuff, and so.
Didn't we discuss this years back?
Yeah.
We did before COVID. It was
Yeah,
a
but-
long time ago, but I can't remember.
What was the outcome of that? You guys remember?
It would be detrimental to the citizens of Port Clinton because there wouldn't be a contact here in town.
Okay, you're right.
Well, I don't know that it means that we wouldn't still have a tax commissioner necessarily. You know what I mean? Like,
Let's just make.
So how
I
would
don't think they
Yeah.
would.
How would
So
this
I think
change?
that'd be a problem.
So instead of filing it here, we file it with them? Is that how it is?
yeah, you file it online. It's really easy. I don't know. I mean,
It's
this
easy,
is
but you don't get that personal touch when you're filing, like you do here.
okay.
No, What? What's the point? It's true.
No.
No, I got you, but I would really like to file my taxes online, but
But this motion is just to.
yeah, this is just to ask
Not to
them.
accept it right now.
Yeah, it's not to accept anything, it's
To
just,
collect the information.
it's just to get the information from them.
Okay, more information is always good information. You can always say no.
Yeah.
I just will state, excuse me,
Sure, you're
that
fine.
I'm sure our tax department would not be happy with that. There could be a couple people out of a job if that goes through, and I think that would be a major problem, and I just wanted to go on record to say that. I think it would be, as the mayor said, detrimental to the city personally. And we've talked about it before, and we stayed away from that. And,
Twice.
Well, we need to, we really should have the technology to be able to file online. And
I think they're
that's,
working on
that's
that
coming.
with some software. We're doing some software things, and just had an email just while I was sitting here that there's some things with the city tax that we deal with that they are looking into all of that. The other software that we had was too expensive, as Mr. Beal explained, from the auditor's office. So Michelle's done a tremendous job and collected a hell of a lot more revenue, so I'd hate to see that go away. I just wanted to state that, you guys do what you want, but that's my 2 cents.
It's probably not, just getting information though, there's no cost, so I don't see what the harm in is getting the information. I was in part of those discussions when I looked at it previously, and I can't remember, I would think it would have been more than just a personal touch, but I don't know, I can't remember that far back exactly what it was, but I don't think looking into it is, I don't know. I'm on the side of more information is always a good thing.
Get the information. You don't like it, we say no?
Yeah, this isn't a proposal right now, it's
Right.
just an information gathering, right? I mean, that's how I take it.
And also, we have to be careful how we evaluate it. But what the mayor said, if it's detrimental to the citizens of Port Clinton, that's a problem. And as much as I like to tax people, if it causes their job loss, but it saves the city money, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's bad for those people. I understand that, and I wouldn't want to be that person out of my job. But we have to look at the whole thing. So I think, and I have no idea if it's good or bad, but yes, get the information and we'll see.
So we can take a vote on it, so.
I mean, I don't know if the information is good or bad either, so, like, I was just curious as to,
That's fair.
yeah.
I have a motion by Mrs. King, second by Mrs. Hovis, for administration to look in and get the information, possibly on Rita. Would the clerk please call the roll? And again, this is just a fact finding,
Yeah.
so.
Jerry Trolley,
No.
Pat Hovis,
Yes.
Richard Morgan,
Yes.
Margaret Phillips,
Yes.
Beth Gilman,
Yes.
Kathy King.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, motion carries by a vote of 5 to 1. I don't know what is needed.
I mean, I can forward the email to, like, I don't know who to forward it to.
I guess Michelle or
To Michelle.
and then copy Ms. Osheimer for that also. Okay. Mrs. Hovis.
I have 3 things.
Okay.
I know, surprise. First of all, the feather party was amazing. I've never had so much fun. I've never won like that before.
It was your company.
Almost like Brian Gilman was there.
He wasn't allowed to go, next year you can go.
Wow. The second thing, I was at the Arts Garage 3 weekends ago to do a painting thing with Red Truck. That's the first time I've been there since we were there at its inception. I was blown away. That place is amazing. I was watching this man, I cannot think of his name, that was doing a statue of Harold Brown.
Dexter.
Dexter, yeah.
He's amazing. He's amazing, yes.
I cried. Wow. Go there, look and see what they've got. Wow. Okay, the third thing is I move to approve a participation agreement between the City of Port Clinton and the Auditor of State for the UAN financial management and accounting system, that the city auditor take the necessary steps to make the software available to the city as soon as is feasible, and further that this motion be effective November 1st. That's from Gabe Emo.
I second.
Okay. Any discussion? Any questions? Okay. I have a motion from Mrs. Hovis, seconded by Mrs. Gilman, to approve the new system, the UAN. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Margaret Phillips,
Yes.
Richard Morgan,
Yes.
Beth Gilman,
Yes.
Pat Hovis,
Yes.
Jerry Trolley, Kathy King.
Yes.
Motion carries by a vote of 6-0. I don't know if there's anything to say. Yes?
I need to clarify something. Sometimes moving forward can step you backwards. You all understand what I'm saying about that? Modernization sometimes isn't the right way to go. The personal touch we need to keep. Nothing against the motion, nothing against you, Kathy, and that's why I voted no.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Oh,
fine.
no, I don't,
I've sat through those 2 readings and, yeah, I understand you getting information, but all I got to say, thank you.
Okay.
Madam President,
Yes.
I know I said no. Can I bring up something now? Or am I done? When you said,
No, if you'd like to, yeah, I'll let you.
I've had some correspondence from a person in town who, he is about to start an Airbnb. It has nothing to do with that. But there's a place near him which is definitely an eyesore. And I'm told that if there's no rot and everything on the exterior, it's all fine. My question is, who does he go to ask about this? Because it is an eyesore. There's no question. Where do we go about him seeing if we can do anything about this? What procedure? He called me, and I said, I don't know what to do.
Mr. Colston?
So what are you talking, exteriorly, the problem, what are you,
Well,
what do you mean
yeah,
by eyesore? What-
there's a lot of paint's chipped off, a lot of the wood is rotten, some of the windows are broken, there's some awnings that are torn off, and it doesn't look good at all.
You have to send the address, I would go out with the zoning inspector myself, and we would look at that.
Okay.
You're not talking about a condemned type situation, it
No.
doesn't sound like, it's just an exterior maintenance situation.
Yeah,
Is the way you're talking.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we would take that and go look at it, then Mr. Bickley usually sends a letter that they have X, Y, and Z to clean it up or do whatever they need to do. If it doesn't, then obviously it goes to Mrs. Shanker and we move forward that way.
Okay, I'll talk to you. Okay.
That's how we do it.
All right.
just,
So he was
please-
right to call me, and then I talked to you.
Yeah, what you should do, one of you should email it, so we have it in writing, and that's what we prefer.
Okay.
Send an email to me, and then I will get it with the proper channels and do it that way. That's the best way to handle it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And thank you, Madam President.
Mrs. Gill?
I just want to echo what they said about the feather party. It was fantastic. I had a lot of fun. Didn't win a whole lot like the people next to me. But the food was good. The company was fantastic. I had an issue after the feather party, and the mayor was kind enough to help me out with the assistance of the fire department. So that was fantastic. It was not a fire, but I much appreciated. So had I been a Michigan fan, it might not have been the same.
You've been on your own. Yeah.
I'm lucky the game was where it was at in the night, or he wouldn't have left. But had a great time, and I just appreciate the fire department doing that, and the Arts Garage, this administration for supporting projects like that have made it such an asset to the community. So just very appreciative. So nothing else, Madam President.
Thank you. Seeing no further business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam President, I move this August body adjourned.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Cook, seconded by Ms. King to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries, we're adjourned.